A man is in trouble for running a secret Chinese police station in New York City. Another man is in trouble for running through a military camp to see how they would react. And scientists might have discovered a new form of ancient humans known as large head people. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the galaxy. I'm the host, Jonesy. Let's do it. A man admits that he was running a secret Chinese police station in New York City. This is actually a U.S. man, and he just pleaded guilty to assisting in running what has been described as the first known secret police station in New York on behalf of the Chinese government. Isn't this like an embassy? Oh no, a secret Chinese police station. I heard their speeding tickets are brutal. Prosecutors say this guy with the last name Chen and his co-defendant Lu Jianwang opened and operated the secret Chinese police station in Manhattan's Chinatown neighborhood. This was on behalf of China's Ministry of Public Security. At least 100 such secret police stations have been reported worldwide across 53 countries. I've never heard of these secret Chinese police stations. Have you heard of this? Rights groups accuse China of using these outposts in order to threaten and monitor Chinese nationals abroad. Well, that makes sense. So it's kind of like a nefarious embassy on some level. Now, this one in New York City, they're saying, occupied an entire floor above a ramen stall, did provide basic services like renewing Chinese citizens' driver's license, but it also helped Beijing identify pro-democracy activists living in the United States. Yeah, the Chinese government doesn't mess around, huh? You can't even leave the place and they're still on your back. Crazy. Man, and isn't New York City exciting? Sometimes I wish I lived there again. I mean, they got subway dancers with diseases, rats the size of goats, $2 pizza slices, and secret Chinese police. I mean, that's just incredible. There's no secret Chinese fire department that I've heard of, and it's probably because their fire drills are not very effective. Come on, guys. The Chinese fire drill, who's with me? You'll be happy to hear that this secret Chinese police station has been closed as the FBI launches an investigation of their own. Both of these men are American citizens. And on Wednesday, this guy Chen, age 60, pleaded guilty to conspiring to act as an agent for China and faces up to 5 years in prison when he's sentenced. Chen's acknowledgement of guilt is a, quote, stark reminder of insidious efforts taken by the Chinese government to threaten, harass, and intimidate those who speak against their Communist Party. That's a quote from Robert Wells, an executive assistant director of the FBI's National Security Branch. It says at the time of Chen's arrest, authorities say this marked the first time the U.S. has brought criminal charges in relation to such police outposts. Well, if you want to send a message, maybe not give the guy up to 5 years then, Treat him like someone who's been convicted of treason or something. This seems like a slap on the wrist, all right? It sounds like there's a lot of these secret Chinese police stations. What, are we just going to allow this to go on? It seems very strange. Are there secret U.S. police stations in other countries? I've never heard of this stuff. Anyone have any information on this? This is wild. And how does this all work? They're using another business as a front? This said that it was above a ramen stand. Are there secret U.S. police stations in other countries that are behind a hot dog stand or something? Or an AR-15 sales kiosk? I'm just trying to think of the most American things that I can think of, sadly. When I originally read about this secret Chinese police, I assumed it was to help combat hate crimes that were going on against Chinese people in the New York area, but no, they're spying on their own people for other reasons. So sad. You would think that China wouldn't give a damn. There's so many people, so they've lost a few to the U.S. that have defected. So what? You know what I mean? When you got that many billions of people, what do you give a damn? They're out of their minds over there. I should probably shut up. They're probably listening to this podcast. They have a lot of time on their hands, apparently. So let me just say, and this is truthful, I love Chinese people. I love Chinese food. I make congee at home. Anyone know anything about congee? Yeah, I'm pretty Chinese. A man has been jailed after breaking into a military camp to, quote, see the reaction of the security. This story is out of Singapore. After drinking 10 cans of beer, a private driver decided to drive his car into Bedok Camp in Upper East Coast Road in Singapore in order to, quote, see the response from the security. Well, it just sounds like this is a very concerned citizen that wants to make sure his tax dollars are being spent appropriately on beefy military security, wants to be able to sleep at night knowing that the borders are safe. You could call this Operation Keep Them on Their Toes, and sometimes, the military bases need that. This guy's name is Mohammed Sadiq Mohammed Sadakatullah. Try that again. Mohammed Sadiq Mohammed Sadakatullah. He arrived outside of Camp Bedok at 6 a.m. This was on December 20th. But security did not raise the entry barrier for him. Yep, because he was probably rolling up in a lift or maybe on a scooter of some sort. Sadiq then drove through the barrier and entered the military camp before turning and crashing through an exit barrier. So he entered and then exited right away. Just trying out the front door. Make sure you guys are good. He had about 10 beers, it says here. I mean, I've had 10 beers and it never made me want to break into a military facility. That's more like a 18 to 24 beer mission, I would say. Muhammad got hammered, as we say in Boston. Just testing you guys out. That's all. Just want to make sure you're passing all the tests. You guys did good. You did good. You passed my test. So keep it up. I'm just gonna drive away now. Okay. It says here, after Sadiq Muhammad was arrested at his home, he was found to have 36 micrograms of alcohol in 100 milliliters of breath. Was that how they measure it over there? 36 micrograms of alcohol in 100 milliliters of breath. Wow, we measure the blood alcohol. This measures the breath alcohol, although I guess that's what a breathalyzer does. I'm not very smart, so I've never seen it broken down like this. 36 micrograms per 100 milliliters of your breath. It says this is slightly above the prescribed limit of 35 micrograms of alcohol in the same amount of breath. While out on bail, Mohammed Sadiq assaulted 2 policemen in September of 2024 after consuming beer in an unrelated incident. Wow, Mohammed just can't stop drinking beer and headbutting the police. He gets attack authority drunk. Some people just, they live life like it's Grand Theft Auto in the world. They just think there's no rules. Just go around stealing cars, attacking authorities, going on military bases. It says the 38-year-old Singaporean was just sentenced to 20 weeks jail. That's it? Not even 2 years for breaking into a military facility? If this happened in the U.S., you would have been shot dead on sight. This guy's getting off pretty easily. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of entering a protected place without a permit and 2 counts of assaulting military personnel. The court heard that Sadiq, despite being intoxicated on those 10 brewskis, made a conscious decision to drive to Bedok military camp where he, quote, created a ruckus. They're so polite about this. Well, he kind of created a little bit of it was kind of a to-do, so we're going to give him probably, I don't know, some community service and maybe a $50 ticket. You can't just break into a military base and create any hullabaloo, There's some not very stern laws against that here in Singapore. It says here in the mitigation plea, the lawyer for Muhammad has claimed he's had a strained relationship with his family and his divorce has significantly impacted his well-being. They say as a way to cope with these stressors, he's been consuming copious amounts of alcohol. He understands that this is no excuse for his behavior. They say he is remorseful, so he pleaded guilty at the earliest opportunity. Sounds like Muhammad's going through some stuff right now, and it is the holidays when it does become difficult. And, if you're prone to quelching, is it quelching? Is that a word? Or squelching? Squelching your emotions with booze, you're going to do it even more so around the holidays when the emotions just get more intense, it seems. But, if you're going to booze, you just can't get behind the wheel around the holidays. And, you probably shouldn't trespass on military property as well. I don't recommend storming Area 51 either. That'll get you some prison time from what I've heard.
When you check out at the pharmacy, you see the journey from idea to medicine, thanks to our intellectual property system, or IP for short. IP safeguards inventions, like a new way to prevent seizures or lower cholesterol. And IP supports competition from other brands, then lower cost generics, which are 90% of prescriptions filled in the US. Innovation, competition, lower costs, thanks to IP. Learn more at phrma.org/IP works wonders.
Scientists have discovered a new form of ancient humans known as large head people. Who knew, guys? Mr. Potato Head is actually anatomically correct if you go back into ancient times. These humans known as large head people. Let's learn a little bit about that and how they managed to purchase hats. Probably have to special order them. Scientists have introduced what they believe may be a new ancient human species. They're called the large head people. Can you come up with something a little more scientific than that? The large head people? It's like, we ran out of names and it's close to the holidays to think of a better name. So here you go, big head people. The big head people, large head people, are believed to have lived in Eastern Asia over 100,000 years ago. They possess significantly large brains as well, as you would imagine, someone with a large head, although it seems like, when I meet people with big heads, they act as though their brains are smaller than the rest of us. Big-headed people, in my experience, seem to be a little slower. That's just an anecdotal evidence from my adventures in the world. But they're saying they had large brains and unique traits that could dramatically alter our understanding of human evolution. Well, let's keep reading and find out how big their heads were and what they had to do to get hats. It had to be difficult to get hats back then. They had to special order their woolly mammoth hats, I'd imagine. Or the, saber-toothed tiger hat, whatever they were wearing. And what about the pillows? It's hard to get a suitable pillow when you have such a big melon, I'd imagine. What did they use for pillows back then? Let's keep reading and learn about history too, guys. I'm open to it. I want to learn today. It says here, after studying the fossils, their faces and jaws revealed a mosaic of traits, some reminiscent of Neanderthals, combined with others unseen in Denisovans, Homo erectus, and even modern humans. These distinctions led the scientific team to propose that the big-headed people are a distinct form of ancient humans who coexisted with various hominins in Asia between 350,000 years ago. 300,000 and 50,000 years ago. It says what separated them is their brain size, which surpasses that of all other known hominins in that era, including Homo sapiens. So it seems like God was messing around in big head mode for a little while, just trying it out. God screwed around, had some crazy experiments like the platypus. Like what is that? What's God thinking? I think God sometimes will drink 10 beers and then jump into the laboratory. Jonesy, do you believe a guy in the sky made all the living beings down on Earth? No, I'm just playing around with ideas that are out there. Come on, big-headed guys, right? God wanted a Mr. Potato Head of his own. So, flouting around in the old laboratory with the big melon people. How about those ladies back then, though? Ooh, how big were the lady hips? Yeah, because, giving birth to a large-headed being, it's already hard with our heads. Our heads are significantly larger than, when we're babies. And so giving birth is a challenge, obviously. Imagine having to give birth to the large-skulled people back then. These ladies, my goodness. Many of them, I'd imagine, probably didn't live unless their hips, they had huge hips and huge, they just had huge nether regions down there, I'd imagine. I'm just speculating. I'm not a real scientist. All right, it says here, the discovery has added to the growing complexity of our evolutionary history. Discoveries in recent decades have turned the human family tree into a tangled web of interrelated branches going in every direction. That's it? That's the end of the article? They're not going to tell us why they had big heads? Probably from counting all those rocks, man. It takes a big brain to do that. Are we going to learn anything about their culture? Did they find the remains of King McLargedome? I got so many questions for this. Also, you guys should Google this and then send this story to the person you know with the biggest head. I've already sent it to 3 people. It's just a nice way to tell them happy holidays, and I'm thinking of you. and your large dome, you big melon-headed oaf.
Oh, Pod Daddy.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Good luck with your life, man.
Well, happy holidays, my friends, my loyal listeners. This is your host, Jonesy. I want to thank you for spending a little time with the Weird AF News podcast over the holidays. Wishing you all Merry Christmas or whatever it is, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you happen to be celebrating. I hope you're with loved ones and you're having a good old time. Raise a toast to me if you can think of it. I'll be thinking of you. I got some thanks and praise to give to some individuals who are very generous and have bought me coffees for the holidays. First up is Cordyceps. Bought me some coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. And Cordyceps wrote, "G'day, Pod Daddy Jonesy from a little country town in Queensland, Australia named Texas. We have less than 1,000 people in the town. I travel 240 kilometers to and from work every day. Your podcast helps keep me sane on those long drives while dodging all the wildlife like kangaroos, emus, wild pigs, and tourists who are too busy looking up at the trees for drop bears. At first, I would switch between random podcasts, but now Weird AF News is the only thing I will listen to, Jonesy. Even going as far as listening to episodes I've heard several times previously instead of hearing some other influencer trying to tell me which essential items I need to justify my own existence. Hope you have a Merry Christmas. And maybe a Merry X-Massage. Good luck with your life, man." It's a very funny holiday message here from Cordyceps. So shout out to this individual in a place called Texas in Australia. I didn't even know there was a place called Texas, Australia. It's pretty cool. That's a long drive to and from work, too. I'm glad I can give you some entertainment along the way and maybe teach you some things. So I'm very flattered that you dig my podcast, and thank you for the coffees. I so appreciate that. Also, we have Mandy. Mandy bought me coffees and wrote, "Merry Christmas, Pod Daddy. Sending some holiday cheer your way to thank you for making my housework way more entertaining, Jonesy. Sure, not every joke lands, but hey, even a blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes, right? And when I'm gardening, you're absolutely killing it. Keep it up, and good luck with your life, man." Wow, that's really, really sweet. I'm so overtaken with the generosity that I've received this holiday season, and I just want to thank all of you that have joined the Patreon or bought me coffees. It's really, really sweet. And I've gotten some really nice emails, too, wishing me happy holidays, and that's amazing. I appreciate that. I will not be doing an episode on Christmas Day, which is tomorrow. I will be spending my time at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, helping fellow comedians feed the homeless all afternoon and day. And we do 4 meals at noon, 2, 4, and 6. Actually, if you happen to be listening to this and you're in the Los Angeles area and you are alone on the holidays and you don't have anything to do, or maybe you're a little down and out and you could use some Christmas cheer, come over to the Laugh Factory and get a free meal. And we even entertain everybody who's dining in the club. So it's a great time, and we have good desserts as well. It's just a lovely ambiance and environment. It's very festive, and it's just awesome. It's a great time, and I always have a good time. And being that I'm away from family out here for the most part, it's nice to keep busy myself. So I really get a lot out of that in more ways than one. So I guess once again, I wish you happy holidays. Please visit my website, weirdafnews.com, if you'd like to support the show. And we'll see you the day after Christmas. We'll do an episode. How's that sound? All right. Love you guys. Happy holidays.